What's up, guys? You know what it is. Another Friday, another live stream. We're gonna get some updates real quick, and then go right into the could you, should you talking portion. So let's invite some people. Let's let some people filter in. We'll get right into it. First things first. Gorgeous yellow 5.7 TA in for our level 2. Or sorry, not level 2, level 4. So cam headers, full tune. Non-MDS lifters out of a little Hellcat, so all the good bits, everything you want. This car has the Ram Air box. This thing's kind of sick. Definitely wouldn't mind one of these, but they don't make them for my cars. This yellow is killer, just like Bill's, but it's the TA, so of course, white gauges, white wheel to match it. Of course, the wideband in there. This is a non-Hellcat, so for tuning purposes, we require a wideband on non-Hellcat vehicles. But if you're bringing it in, we have our own that we'll install on the dyno. So, ain't nothing we can't do. Let's see what she made. 418, 415, cam, header, 5.7, call it a day. So, that's about... typically about what you'll see out of them. You can throw E at it if you want, but the gains aren't too much more than that. So this yellow is so sexy with this TA package, guys. I am just can't keep my eyes off it ever since it showed up. I've just been looking at it. This black and yellow. Woo! So Arturo did this one. He banged it out as per usual. There he goes. So, hey, real quick before you leave, what are you doing with this? Is this a true flex fuel car?
No, it's a Demon 170.
Oh, Demon 170 flex, baby. All right, so it's 1.5, so it's the upper pulley as well, right? All right, so of course, what's up, Chris? What's up, y'all? We are all doing awesome. Everyone's doing awesome except Arturo. But we have our single size clutch 310 that's gonna go on. Arturo is in the process of getting her all jingly, jangly, suited, booted. So let's see. So blower's propped up. This is a 2.7, so that's why we're doing the 310 and not the 2.86, because it is a bigger blower. We've gone into it before. Also, I want to point out, Arturo, there was a solid pulley on this car before, right? If you guys look at that black stuff, that is belt. That's belt. So that's the negative of the solid pulley, is you'll have that belt slip and it will just go through belts. So it's kind of hard to see, but
I mean, you can see all the belts.
Yeah.
It's been worn off.
Yep. So the nice thing is in between shifts, turning the car off, we got that clutch, baby. No more of that. So even if it's, you're not after the performance, the reliability, if anything, it helps keep your engine bay more clean if you're a neat freak. I know Arturo is. Look how organized this stuff is, man. Anyway, Arturo's going to get back on it, do his thing. Let's move on to the next car, see where we're at. My boy Dan doing a little exhaust work on a Ram. Got to get the angles just right. There's a lot that goes into it. So there you got a bend there. You got two that bend there. So you got to go womp, womp, make it all line up. So there's a decent amount of work into it to make sure it looks as good as it's going to sound. This truck, I believe this is a full, I want to say it's an American Racing header setup. So you got the little caddy back, and you got long tubes on a 5.7. I love my 5.7s, y'all. But long tubes up there. And then same thing on this side. I believe this came with a bracket. Yeah, it looks like it came for the bracket for the old dipstick. So, fun stuff there. Let's see what old Chulo's been working on. I've been working on this beautiful white 2016 Hellcat Challenger. I just got done putting a Whipple trans into it. The HP90, it was kind of So, did our due diligence, took it out, popped it over to Whipple. He did his magic, sent it back, and is now installed. Haven't done any fluid monitoring, make sure it's full. Because we have to fuel system and some other stuff. So not running, just did a spark plug change as well. So yeah, build's progressing. This thing has a lot of stuff for it. AAD, drag pack, I believe, 15-inch brake conversion, and some other fun ins and outs. So, let's see what else we got. What is Arturo working on over here? You schmexy. I hope I don't smell. Little chiller system, baby. Little chiller system from the goats. I don't know. There it is. IC chiller going on this wide body Challenger. She is so sexy. That black on black on black. We are doing a couple of these, just like this, the Charger over yonder. It's a black on black on black demonstration. So, of course, it has the Rings of Hell 310 swappable upper. This particular one is not grip tech, but we do offer grip tech as an option. So if you're looking for a clutch grip tech pulley, hit us up. So let's show one more thing. Let's head in, have a talk. Little 300 getting washed. Not going to show the man himself, but so pretty on those SRT 392s. Detailing. If your car's already here, you want it to look as good as this, perhaps even better, hit us up. We can probably work something out. Even if your car isn't here, hit us up. We can work something out. That white Jeep is gone. We should have pictures posted shortly. The wrap was done. It looked gorgeous. Matt knocked it out of the park. So if you're looking for wraps, PPFs, you know where to turn. Us. So I think that's about it. We're still waiting on some parts for that red Jeep. Cam bearings. Sorry. Self-promo? A little. I like my 5.7s. If you guys got a 5.7 you're trying to sell, same thing with like Challengers. I need a Challenger and I need a 6th-gen Charger. Let me know. So, Jeremy, you ready? Ready. Aw, boy. We're going to do it. Oh, wait. What's this for? What's what for? I don't know. Oh, what's this for? I just want a Challenger and a Charger. I want to have all of them. Like the Infinity Stones, but like way less reliable. I already got the 300, the Magnum. Need a Charger, Challenger. I need me a Jeep truck.
Going back to the basics, just because we got a whiteboard.
Back in the office.
Yeah.
The
right,
AC.
We're going to have to take a second to set it up and make sure. Cause I got
I'm going to put it on the microwave?
No, it's fine because it's got the ball. All right, guys, we're just going to get set up, make sure you can hear us and see. So, all right, so where did this come from? Why am I diving into this? One, I've actually been asked quite a bit about this subject just by talking to customers. I know you might not be able to see the exact numbers. I'll read it off, but it's more of a reference for myself. All right, so, I'll move your chair closer. I'll probably get a little closer. Oh, there we go.
My legs are...
All right, so, you know, we talk a lot about, we'll go up here a little bit. All right, so we talk a lot about, you know, could you, should use with modifying cars, right? We talk about, you know, what's best bang for your buck and stuff like that. What about on the back end of it all, right? What about me as a business owner or other shops as business owners, tuners, employees that work for us, right? So what this is going to be is a dive into how pricing gets set, you know, and the reason I'm bringing this up is this has been an interesting week for us, and sometimes subjects come up is, you know, why are you priced so high? Or where did you get that pricing? Or on the backside, when we go to collect money, why we get arguments on paying us, right? So it's going to be a kind of an interesting subject. Might not be for everybody, but this will hopefully allow you to see more of what we deal with on the backside, on the financial side. So first and foremost, before anything, this is a business, right? We love cars. We're all gearheads, obviously, but you guys have to understand that this is a business before anything. So we are fortunate enough to have a skill set and the ability to help all of you build your dream vehicles, spend the money where you want to spend it, maximize performance, all of it, right? But at the end of the day, this is a business. So I have 9 employees under my name at this company. So I have to support them. I have to make sure their paychecks are signed and dated for them, right? So there's constant assessment on everything that goes around. Right now, this economy is crazy, and businesses feel it just as much, if not more, as you do as a consumer. So, you know, going through the questions we got this week, I've actually had a couple people ask me, like, what goes into being a business owner and everything like that. I don't know everything. Trust me, I know my wife's watching. We're going through a lot right now as well, and learning curves and stuff like that as business grows, business expansion. And for most people, that's part of the journey, is starting out somewhere and getting bigger, growing, right? So when I started off, you know, at my own shop, I'm just going to focus when I open my own doors. I've been involved in the industry for a while, helped a lot of businesses grow, but I'm speaking from my standpoint. 6 years ago, when I opened my doors, it was me and a buddy, and we were the renters, right? So, you know, obviously when you have a smaller company, things can be a little different. You can get away with a little bit more. There's a little more flexibility. But then what you end up seeing is, in this industry, you know, if you do well, you focus on customer support, quality all around, from the customer quality to, you know, interactions, everything, right? It's all about the customer service and the quality that you provide. You're going to get busier. So to continue to help satisfy your customers, you have to expand, right? So I can't do all the wrenching myself and then still tune 30 cars a week, right? So I have to hire employees to do wrenching for me, right? Same thing. Once I start getting 20, 30 people on the property for vehicles at any given time, I have to then hire sales support. I have to hire a manager to help me break away to continue the growth of the business, right? So this is part of the journey of the finances that go into it, and why longtime customers might be like, oh, I remember when your rates were lower, why can't we go back to that? Well, this is why. This is how, a way to assess a business and dive into it. This also goes for other small businesses as well. It doesn't have to be the automotive performance industry, okay? It's just a little different for everyone and where it goes. Now, do I think some of these companies should have the inflation still in place that they do? Absolutely not. You know, fast food restaurants and spending $10 on a meal is crazy. So there's a point of a balance. Just keep in mind, we have to support our families. And as a business owner, I don't make money to, you know, feed my family, keep a roof over the head until I generate profit, right? So revenue and profit. Revenue is any dollar that is collected versus expenses, which then will be our net profit, okay? So I don't get to take money home until I profit. I have to profit. It's the way a business goes. In a perfect world, I could be rich and not need to do this and just give away services, right? I would love to do that. Anybody got winning lotto numbers? Let me know. I'll make it happen. But for the time being, I have to profit to support my family, but I also have to make sure there's enough revenue generated to support my employees as well, and future growth, okay? So, just a real rundown quick. I'm not going to sit on these numbers too long. They're in place. You guys can screenshot it if you want, you know, and review it later if you can't see it. So you're not going to see my pretty mug anymore. We're going to focus on the numbers here, okay? So we're just good. These aren't my numbers either. These are just rounded numbers to make it easy for people to kind of understand where a business may come from, okay? So understand, I'm in Illinois, so these numbers are on the low end, right? So we'll say a shop rent is $3,000 a month. Utilities roughly $1,000. That's electrical, gas, water, cell phone, internet, anything along those lines. Tools, they break. We have to upgrade. You know, as you know, things get better, you continue to go. So average for tools on a monthly basis. One employee, okay, $5,000 for the month. Insurance, that's insurance for the shop to cover what we have going on. And then just miscellaneous expenses, there's always going to be random things that come up. So in this basic breakdown, we have $11,500 is just what I need to generate to break even. Now this, like I said, there's a lot of miscellaneous things that aren't built into it. So this is what I have to generate. So what I'm going to focus on is my hourly rate, right? Part sales and little things like that will kind of cover themselves. This is purely for labor rate and where I'm going to get my number from. So breaking it down weekly to make it easier, we're at just over $2,800 is what I need to generate to break even to make sure my employee is paid, insurance is there, all of these things are covered, right? And weekly, at 40 hours a week in a work week, that's $71, basically almost $72 is what I have to charge hourly to break even, okay? Now, I know there's some business owners that are going to watch this, and I know there's customers that are going to watch it that, you know, won't grasp it totally, but again, I have to profit. So I'm not just going to add $5 an hour onto here just to make it by, right? So we're just, again, easy number. So I'm going to round it up to 100, and I'm going to tell you this still isn't enough to live on, right? So, and this is why. If I go to $100 an hour, you know, which is 40 hours a week, we're at $4,000 if I book 40 hours of labor a week, okay? So if I subtract my expenses, that leaves only $1,100 a week in profit. So monthly, $4,500. You can do your quick math. You know, we're you know, just over 50 grand a year basically in profit. Now, for some people, comfortable living, cool, I can make a buy. But if I want to grow the business, if I want to buy a dyno, 25, 30, 40, hub dynos now, 80 grand. How long is it going to take for me to generate a profit to do that, right? So as any business, we have to make sure that not only can we cover our personal expenses, but we have to be able to grow the business, right? So that's where it comes in. So you can make the decision what you think is fair as an hourly rate for just the labor side of things, right? So this isn't even, you know, a $30 or, you know, $30 increase over what I need as a necessary number to break even. Now, this is if I book 40 hours. Now, any mechanic that's watching this or anybody that's wrenched on your own car knows it doesn't always work out that way. Man, in a perfect world, if I could book 100 hours of efficiency, that's killer. I'm going to tell you the goal for my technicians is 80%. And the reason why, there's a lot of miscellaneous things that happen, right? You got to push cars around, you got to clean, you got to do things like that. So the reality is on a 40-hour work week, generally a technician is going to work roughly 32 hours, give or take, okay? Now, you can keep the doors open longer and so on and so forth. Again, this is easy numbers. So you can compensate by working more hours. That's up to you on how you want to break that down, right? So, but this isn't a perfect world situation. I'm only going to be making, you know, $1,125 a week in profit. Now, I want to grow. How to do that? Like I said, I get busy. So what do I need to do? I need to hire a technician, right? Somebody else. There's training that goes into it and all that. And then I want to hire another sales guy to be able to answer questions about products and services and allow me to stay free to continue tuning and growing the business. And then on top of it, I need a manager, right? Somebody else to kind of help the front office, help the sales guy, help the tech, help everybody stay in sync. So we got option number 2 here. So this is a shop that's growing, okay? So rent stays the same, utilities stay the same, tools go up. I have more employees, computers I got to buy, printers that break. Trust me, you know, technology doesn't live forever, as we all know. So there's constant expenses for that. Then you have employee salary. We just now tripled what we used to have before. Now, mind you, employees might make more, employees might make less. This is an average, right? So keep that in mind. Insurance, it goes up. Why? I have more people, right? You got to cover the people. There's more cars. There's more valuables. There's more that goes into insurance. And we all know how good insurance is, right? So I'm going to tell you guys my insurance for my shop is 30 grand a year. I don't mind sharing that, but just to give an example, I have to pay 30 grand a year to keep insurance on my business. So 2,500 is easier number for the math we're doing now. Again, miscellaneous expenses are going to go up. Why? The goal is you're going to have more employees, right? There's going to be paper. There's going to be other markers. There's going to be requests from those employees. Other things that come along the way. So that's also going to go up. So my expenses on a growing shop now over doubled. I'm at $24,500 for a shop of only 3 employees, okay? Again, this doesn't include pay for myself or any family members that help me or anything like that. That's just 3 employees being brought on. So breaking that down weekly, that's $6,600 that I need to generate weekly just to cover my expenses, okay? Now, you break that down hourly, I went from where I needed $71.87 to break even to where now to cover all of the additional expenses, $165.62 at a 40-hour work week. You know, right there, as you guys can see. So how is a shop that used to do this where, you know, $100 an hour was okay in generating a profit, all of a sudden my expenses now go up here? So if we look at a similar kind of increase of what we're looking for, that means I have to price out over $200 an hour in my hourly rate to basically break even and generate a little bit of profit to equal what I did here. Now, the other thing we can do is try and hire another technician, right? This is based on labor rate. So at a 40-hour work week, I can have 2 technicians that generate 40 hours. So then that helps to reduce the expense side of it, right? But like I said, it's especially in the aftermarket world, 40 hours a week booked on a, you know, normal 40-hour punch day, you know, week is very difficult to do. And you guys see it on the live all the times we run into issues where, hey, simple cam swap, yellow one on the dyno, perfect. Went straight forward, few days, and on the dyno. I mean, I'm telling you, 3 days and we had that cam done, and it's almost ready to go home. Where you guys saw the other ones where we had exhaust leaks after we put them on and smoke tested. Cam bearings we uncovered were bad. Cam bearings. Still waiting for cam bearings. So, you know, it's one of those things where delays, right? This is where it gets into the back side of it. I need to collect 24, you know, we'll focus on this number. I need to collect $6,600 a week. We'll just round down, okay? Now, at $165 an hour for that is great, but what happens if I only can do 20 hours in that week, right? that number now doubles. Keep that in mind. This number now goes up because I'm only capable of doing 20, right? Because up here I have one tech, I have a sales guy, and I have a manager that's assisting. So all of a sudden I have to generate $320, $330 in the hour that I have for that week. That's why multiple technicians can be beneficial when jobs go smoothly, okay? Now, this is the other thing. Even over here in this one where we don't have a lot of expenses, I'm going to use this one because it's an easier number, right? So if I book 40 hours, too low yet, one job.
I'm sorry.
40 hours in a week times 100, right? We know that equals 4,000. Now, what happens if I have a job that takes me 100 hours? For those that, quick, not really good at math, that's 2.5 weeks, okay? Now, if I have one technician working on one car and I'm supposed to collect $2,800 a week, how do I get that $2,800 a week when I'm only able to work on one car? Right? So, same thing happens over here. Even though our hourly rate is higher, if I have, say these are all 3 technicians, but they're on 80-hour jobs, that's 2 weeks per technician. That means I go a week without collecting any money if I were to just wait till the job finishes, right? We're small businesses, guys. The goal is to have millions of dollars sitting in the bank so we can float stuff, right? That the reality is we're not, and especially someone like myself that's very aggressive at expanding. We have the CNC machines. Dynos are expensive. You guys have seen the 3D printers and what I've gone through with that. I have 50 grand in 3D printers. So, it's part of where we distribute our profit. I can't just sit there and hold the profit in a bucket, just waiting to cover payroll and stuff like that when customers don't want to pay. You want a real transparent inside to business. So, we average at any given time about 20 to 30 cars in the parking lot waiting for their parts to come in and stuff like that, right? At this moment, as a small business of what I have, now this might be a little too much, I don't care. It's good for people to see this. I'm owed 60 grand right now from customers that haven't or are refusing to pay. Now, when I say haven't, they disappear. I've had customers disappear on me. I have customers that will go months without communication, trying to drag something out for payment because they don't have the money at that time. I have businesses right now. I have one business out there that owes me over 6 grand, and it's been a couple years. Now, it might not seem like a lot, 6 grand, when you see numbers like this, but it's one of those things. That stuff adds up. So my number right now of bad debt is what we like to call it. Is right at 60 grand is what I'm owed from businesses that I've done work for and other customers I've done work for. So again, from a business standpoint, that hurts big time, right? So what that means is any type of profit, I guess you can go back up on the face there. So
Tilted.
You can come in, Captain Hellman, it's fine. Oh. So it's one of those when you kind of break it down. That's also what you have to do with profit is you have to be ready. You have to be ready for customers refusing to pay. You have to be ready for customers to disappear. And it's sad when, you try really hard to be as transparent as you can, help people out, and this is the end result, right? And then they always come to us and think that we can float it. It's okay. You understand that, I'll give an example of one customer that they went 4 months without trying to make a payment because we were continuing to work on the car and they wanted to wait till we were done. And I'm talking hundreds of hours into the car, they did not want to pay. As a small business, we have profit, right? We have savings accounts and stuff like that. I'm not just going to keep diving into that because you are refusing to support a small business that's trying to help you. So what I have to do is now push that vehicle to the side and jump to somebody else that is supporting us properly and willing to pay us, right? What we do is a service, and service takes a very long time. We're not an electrician or a plumber. We don't, sometimes we get, our level ones. Yeah, we can do same day and stuff like that. But we have a lot of big builds, as you guys have seen, that take 100, 200 hours. We can't keep our doors open if we're not paid as we progress, right? Jobs are being completed. Tasks are being done. Things are changing. This is not a general maintenance shop in this industry. You're going to have to pay for stuff that is done and completed prior to full completion because parts are included. You know what I mean? And it's one of those, if you bring me a vehicle that has a bunch of mechanical issues and I can't even start a dyno pull, we did put dozens of hours into it, and then I can complete a dyno pull, you should pay us for the work to get you to that point, right? So we call it stages of the build. we try as a business to be as transparent as possible. Our terms of service state all of this information of, hey, you got to keep your invoice updated weekly. Why? We're a small business. I mean, that's what it comes down to. Like I said, the goal is to get to millions, but if I want to expand, I want to grow, I want to give raises to these guys, I can't just sit on money and not put it back into the business in any way, shape, or form. So it's a side of it that you guys, don't hear about or see, but I know any shop that's busy right now has the same thing. I've talked to them. It's tough. So again, when it comes back to the hourly rate, we got to, make sure that we are taken care of. We are not out to screw you guys. I hope you understand that. And the business does have to profit. If you do support them and you like what they provide you as regards to service, communication, products, you want to give them profit. You want them to be able to excel and grow so they can keep going to help the community out, right? And if I just satisfy you to get it to the price you want, doesn't mean I'm going anywhere. Leave the flies alone. Let them do their stuff, okay? You don't need a goofball. The other thing, discounts, right?
Oh, yeah.
We're not a massive corporation. Like I said, I had a conversation with a customer the other day. My prices aren't built to screw anybody over, okay? My prices are designed for me to profit what I need to profit to survive and grow. And that's not just for me and me getting to get what I want. That's to be able to pay these guys more money, right? That's to be able to grow my team. I started off with one part-time guy, my buddy. He actually came back from Greece. Welcome back, Chris. And like I said, I'm sitting at nine employees now, and I'm not stopping. I still want to go. That means I have to keep up with it. It's just from an expense standpoint. I know in a perfect world we could keep it the same and grow at the same time, but the reality is, as inflation increases, materials increase, and the difficulty increases. It just comes with the territory, guys. So, I hope this gives a better idea of where we come from. We assess, what every aspect of the business from all the expenses we have and what we need to grow, right? Barry. Sadly, that's just any industry, right? Mm-hmm. It's not just I understand in sales and everything like that, the customer is always out for themselves. For most customers, for the most part, right? They want to save their money, and this industry is about spending extra money. We get it. What we do is not necessary.
Dodge
right?
isn't cheap either.
Right. So this isn't. We're not a general maintenance shop where this stuff is required. We do understand and appreciate that, but we also want to understand that, like I said, for us to stay around, for me to be able to grow my team and allow them to support themselves. We're car guys. These guys want to build their cars too. You know what I mean? So it's part of it. And it's tough. It's tough for anybody. I get it. I like deals too, guys. Don't worry. I trust me, dealers don't like working with me, but I'm educated. And that's the difference of understanding. And I make that very clear. I understand profit is necessary. So think about that when you reach out to small businesses for discounts and seeing where they can knock money off it. All you're doing is just reducing the ability for them to grow. We can run specials here and there when we get bulk items or whatever the case may be. Any business can do that.
If you want a little discount, cash will get you a discount.
Cash is king, right? But last piece of this, and we'll get to could you, should yous. For businesses, especially in this day and age, it's not how we get paid, it's when. I want you guys to understand it, especially in a service industry as we progress on builds. Yes, cash is king, we get it. But for us, it's more important of when we get paid, not the how. Understand that. So if you have a preference of how you want to pay us, that's fine, but you just be respectful and focus on the when, when is what we matter. We don't care at the end of the day if it's cash or not, because I want to be able to give that money to my employees that like they deserve for the hard work they put into the vehicles and the builds, right? So the how for small businesses is sometimes more important than the when, okay? We hate credit card fees too. Trust me, the processing and stuff is going up for businesses too, and that's just one of those. At the end of the day, what I can do is either raise my overall rates or give you the option, right? And that's part of it too when it comes to that. Small businesses are more transparent than the bigger businesses, and it just naturally comes with it based on what they have floating, right? I would love to get to a point where I didn't have to worry about them, but the fact is that that's another expense for us that goes up. That's why wire transfer, Zelle, cash are beneficial for us, because it just saves for everybody. But we understand there's times where the credit card's needed, and we will help where we can. But understand, we are not I can speak for us. We are not a business that is out to screw anybody. We are not overpriced. This is an assessment of the team I have built and the services we provide and what we want to provide continued. Okay. People don't get their cars without paying. What I'm saying is they want us to keep working on their car when they don't pay. So it's one of those, as we progress through stages of a build, or we diagnose something, or it's one of those, car comes to us not running and it has a bunch of issues, and then we get it running, do our first dyno pull and it's good, and I have 40 hours of labor in it. I'll reach out to my customer and say, hey, guess what? Here's the update. This is what we got. Car's running. Did a dyno pull. We're progressing. Can you just cover me for the work I did? Guess what? He disappeared for 4 months. So, you know, and then it's one of those things where it hurts. It hurts a business. I had somebody, shops do this all the time, chargebacks and stuff like that. I have a local guy that was trying to start his own thing. He stole about $4,000 worth of parts and tuning from me, did a chargeback, and I got hit with it. So, you know what I mean? This is the type of stuff we deal with on a daily basis, guys. So, just build that relationship, and what you want to look for is a shop that you trust or a company that you trust, and understand that they're not out to screw you in any way, and that's from a financial standpoint, a service standpoint, or anything. Okay? So, I think that's enough boring talk. And if anybody has questions, Anthony, go ahead and throw them in and we'll answer them. So, all right.
Could you, should you?
Could you, should you?
And kind of tying into what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Buy your own parts and expect something to be cheaper. Or buy a used part. Pro Charger kit. Yeah. Something like that. Turbo kit.
That one scarred me, didn't it?
Dude.
That one scarred me.
I didn't even work on it and it scarred me.
Yeah. Get back in the camera. Then miss your face. So back up a little bit. But, so, again, talking about it is a good tie-in, but could you buy used parts or even shop other shops and then take them to somebody else for installing? Could you? I want to say no.
Yeah.
I've said it before in post that understand that when you buy parts, Amazon. Love Amazon.
Oh,
Scott.
yeah.
Yep.
Those Amazon coil packs, bro.
Understand that when you buy parts from us as a business, yes, there's profit built in. Like I said, we're a business, right? So shout out to Scott down American Muscle down in Florida. He understands it. You know, we have profit built in. We need to, guys, right? But what it does, too, is it strengthens our relationship with our vendors, which allows us to continue the growth of things to offer, right? Product development and so on and so forth. Now, and some of you don't know, but for me to be able to sell Whipples or Magnusons or Pro Charger, I have to sell a certain amount of product a year. Well, if you're buying from other people because they might be a couple $100 cheaper, I lose the ability to do that, which then impacts my business, right? So, it's one of those things where in a perfect world, support that shop. So I tell people all the time, don't just find a shop you trust and let them guide you the whole way through. If you don't trust something they say, you should probably change the shop. I mean, that's just the reality of it, right? And understand when we're selling parts, a lot of us are following what is, oh, look at that tag. Yeah, good job. There you go. Not even mad about it.
Give them the link, too.
Yeah, right. Go ahead, throw the link out there, Scott. Permission granted. But it's one of those things where, it makes the process smoother. The amount of times, I'll tell you guys, map pricing. We get used parts to us. That one sucks. I get it, trying to look for a deal, man. I will be honest, 9 times out of 10 when I'm installing a used kit somebody provided, it's going to cost you more than if you went new. Why? I run my shop where you get a discounted rate if you allow us to supply the parts. So essentially $200 an hour if you bring your own parts, $175 if we supply it. So right out of the gate, you're getting a lower rate by allowing us to provide it for you. Why? We know we're going to get the right stuff, okay? Mm-hmm. And you're supporting our vendors, so it's one of those, we can stand behind it too. It just alleviates everything. If you bring your own parts or you go to somebody else for it, you gave somebody else profit, and now I'm taking the risk on by installing it. And I've had parts missing. I've had wrong kits provided and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden, something that should have taken 8 hours on a lift is now taking 3 weeks.
Wrong exhaust kits for a truck. It had to get punched out, had to get sent back, and waited 3 weeks for the exhaust to come in.
Yeah, customer, won't use names, but the Blue Ram, customer ordered the header back exhaust kit on his own from somebody else, probably because it was cheaper. They sent him the wrong exhaust. So we put headers on because it just came to us in a box, and it was the wrong set. So now we have to pull it off it ended up almost tripling the amount of labor this customer paid. Why? I'm not going to eat it because you didn't support me or trust us to order it. At the end of the day, I have a business to run. Again, profit, employees to pay, and other customers supporting us from start to finish. So, yeah, so that I get it. You can, there's certain things that are okay, catch cans, items like that, but anything really that, is a big crucial piece of the build, support that shop, guys. To honestly support that shop. So, good question. What's
You're
next?
coming to a shop for tuning support, just information, Don't be like, oh, well, thanks for all the information, and then jet over somewhere else. That's also why consulting fees and whatnot.
Oh, consulting
and the
fees.
amount of free quotes we do, just so we're not doing 8 quotes. And
So consulting fees. Some people get upset because I charge them a consulting fee, or before, if they ask me a bunch of questions, I'll shoot them an invoice before I answer the questions. Why? Again, not mad about it if you're watching. I understand. I appreciate you trust my judgment, but I had a guy call me, ask us questions about a turbo because he's getting a turbo built on his vehicle. And then, have somebody ask a question, right? Ask me turbo specs, what I would run and stuff. Well, then I got literally a message from the guy building the turbo kit countering what I said. And then I got another message by somebody else connected to it trying to verify what I said. Man, I got customers paying me for my time and service. Literally, I'm not building this kit, but they want all my knowledge. Pay me for it. Okay.
Right.
How many doctors, how many lawyers can you call up and spend hours on the phone talking to them, call them multiple times and ask them questions and them not charge you? They're gonna laugh at you and hang up probably. So it's one of those. Yeah, it's my time, guys, and the proven that I don't know everything. I will say that I do not know everything, but what I do know, I have no problem sharing. But understand and respect. Time is money, and if you're gonna pull me away from the customers willing to pay me, you have to pay me. It's just the end of the day. I am a business. Me, although I'm a person, I am a business. My name's on the shirts, on the wall. I am the business. So anything you get from me, there is a cost to it. And it's just business 101. And sadly, it's getting more and more aggressive, and people are going to go to the cheaper guys, but they want the knowledge of the better shops.
Right.
I know a couple of you guys watching understand that. But we stick our ground, guys, and we're not going anywhere, I can tell you that. We will be around longer than those that are new, and we're going to be trucking along because we understand it. And customers do understand it as well. So please just understand it. Again, we're not screwing you. It's time is money. If I'm going to sit there and type out long emails to you or spend a half hour, 45 minutes on the phone multiple times, it's only fair. Only fair.
Yeah.
What's next?
Jeff's got a good point, If you would get upset at going into work and not getting paid, I come here, I'd like it.
We're a small business. We got all the money in the world. We got all, it doesn't matter. We can just give away that free stuff. Yeah.
We don't. But we do have valve covers. Thank you, Scott, for pointing that out. Valve covers. Machine's back up and running. We made a post about it last night. But before I forget, valve covers. Buy them.
Valve covers. So
they'll work with hydraulic power steering too.
Yeah. And so Scott, did they work with your valve train too? I'm pretty sure you said they were putting on there. So.
2 hour quotes, multiple quotes.
Oh yeah, multiple quotes. Yeah. But yeah, we also have multiple quote charge. So basically, we'll give you a couple quotes at no cost. But if you want more, again, I have an employee. I'm paying an hourly rate to build these quotes.
And the knowledge of it.
And the knowledge for it, right? So again, we're sharing with you. Because usually these guys that we send 2, 3, 4 quotes to don't come back to us. They're going to go somewhere else. And the reality is, I'll be honest with anybody that's unsure of it.
Let me ask my guys. We're going to find out.
But I'll be honest too, if one of those quotes converts into an invoice, I just apply that as a deposit towards it. So it's more of a deposit towards potential work going forward. If you do the work with us, it's just prepaying for it. You know what I'm saying? But if not, it's at least compensating my business for the time we did to build those for you. You know what I'm saying?
I can speak to it. I've had people call me up, hey, can I get a quote for a 392 with a Pro Charger, 392 with a turbo kit, and a 426 with a Whipple, and then a 426 with a turbo kit. That's going to take our minimum to compile all of that. Right. And what are the odds? I mean,
Hopefully it goes through, but maybe. The reality is
odds are
not, most likely not, right? So, yeah, that's another one. I push shops to push for multiple quote fees and consulting fees, guys. Stand behind, what you bring to the table, and this also helps support the other businesses out there because I had a guy, I'm calling around the shop, see who's going to help me. And all he wanted was this knowledge shared, you know what I mean? So if we all stick together, come on, let's go, we got it. you know, it'll help correct the industry. But sadly, I know there's a lot of small shops popping up that don't get it. So what's next? Could you, should you?
Could you, should you? Getting into actual car discussions.
Yeah, cars.
Could you, should you on a NA car? Big old cold air intake with a big old 5-inch filter, or just a quality drop-in filter in the stock airbox? What do you actually see results of?
So when it comes to intakes, when it comes to airflow, essentially on an NA application, you want to really maximize velocity to get air into that combustion chamber as quickly as you can. So bigger is not always better. It actually can slow down the velocity, okay? But what you want to verify is, are you seeing a restriction? So I can tell you, for example, the 5.7 we just did, you show them the dyno on it?
Yes,
okay,
418.
So you saw 418 on that one?
And 415 torque.
That one is struggling for air up top. You can see where the horsepower flatlines a little bit. So that one would benefit from, it already has the big cone on it, but honestly, I think that would benefit from a throttle body on it. Base it off your data logs. Base it off your tuner and let them kind of guide you on it, because it's not for everybody. I will tell you, factory 392s with bolt-on setups do not have an airflow restriction in the intake system. Chris Mitchell's a perfect example. I mean, Chris Mitchell's car has gone 10s multiple times, and he is just our level 4 package with the 85. So that's basically a cam, long tube headers. He did
weight reduction.
A little weight reduction, but he had stock airbox, stock throttle body. Now he's going with our 3D printed slash. There he is. Billet, whichever one we finished. Did you show him the? Chris, I don't know if you saw the second runner just finished up. So we are progressing on that manifold for you. But it just shows you with the proper combination, and we assessed it. Yes, this one, his combo will benefit from a different intake manifold, which is what we're building for him. But for the meantime, there was no airflow restriction in regards to the inlet tube. But we have uncovered an area now with a higher torque converter and things where we are going to get more airflow where it's needed. I'm not going to throw a 108 millimeter throttle body on it because that's way too big. But we did, with our cam setup, is going to open up a little bit more airflow for them. So base it on your data logs. There is no yes or no answer, but if it's stock or bolt-on, the answer is no. Throttle bodies, imported intake manifolds are not very beneficial. You will lose some power. So good one though.
So I guess that kind of answered my next question. Was, you said a bigger throttle body would help that 5.7. Does that mean my stock 5.7 will love a 95 mil throttle body, or
not when stock again?
Oh no!
Airflow is the full from the base of where the air filter is all the way down into the combustion chamber. So that's why you can start, if you see some type of restriction, start with a better flowing air filter and then slowly progress. Don't just jump to the biggest, baddest thing. That's not good. Another one leading into that, though, that was asked, Jeff brought it up. Could you, should you, ported throttle bodies? Now, some people might not like me going over this, but if you actually measure a ported throttle body, normally what they're porting is the edges of the inlet and outlet, and then it tapers up to a factory blade. Okay, so you're making the opening and the outside bigger, but the actual spot where the air goes through is the same size. So that doesn't really change anything. So yeah, that's just a fact. So could you, I guess the could you, should use are kind of generic. You could if you want. If it's shiny and
you like how it looks.
Yeah, if it's shiny. The port sometimes is really nice, but the reality is it doesn't actually flow more air. That's one of those, you just be careful what you buy and understand that, airflow is you need a path. It's a complete path, right? And if you have any restrictions at any point in there, it creates turbulence and it actually can negatively impact airflow. So, I was talking to CJ about it. The example I give, you can look at airflow kind of like water or fluid, right? Because that's a visual and it makes it easier for people. If I have a 1-inch PCV pipe that's just 3 feet long and it's straight, but then I have 3 feet of PCV pipe with a bunch of 90s in it, right? Make an S out of it with 90-degree bends. And then I pour a gallon of water through both at the same time. Which one's going to flow more within a given time frame? So we'll say 10 seconds. Who's going to flow more within that time frame? The straight through one that's very symmetrical, or is it going to be the one that's all curvy and has a bunch of joints? It's kind of the same thing. So, if you have that PCV where, you have the opening is 2 inches, but it tapers to 1 inch and then opens to 2 inch, the water still has to go through the 1 inch, so it doesn't change anything. So it's all about the overall airflow. So just keep that in mind. So I'm sorry for those that are upset about a ported throttle body, but yeah.
Kind of ties into with the air intake. So if you have a big old air intake and then it necks down with an adapter, what's the point?
Well, part of it is airflow. Helps with the velocity. So LMIs, JLTs, technically if the throttle body starts smaller and it tapers up, that does help direct airflow as long as it's engineered correctly. Sometimes it's not beneficial, but in certain situations it can be. But understand that intake technically only flows what the smallest opening is on it. So just don't get fooled by a 6-inch opening on the front end and then a 2-inch on the back end. At the end of the day, the smallest opening is where the limitation of CFM or actual airflow is. So.
What you're saying is my homemade Amazon intake is not effective and I should get rid of it. Is it better to build a 5.7 or save up and get it at the 6.2? I'm a 5.7 guy, I'm going to say 6.2 because it's a Hellcat.
You just said I'm a 5.7 guy, I'm going to say 6.2.
I know,
6.2. That
but
doesn't make any sense.
Hellcats are cooler and they have resale value. And
so, building
trans.
a 5.7 or starting with the 6.2. So, the difference you're going to have out of that is going to be the block itself. 5.7s don't have BGE blocks where the 6.2s do. So that's where the benefit comes into play. I'm going to throw a little curveball in there, and a modern 392 has a BGE block. Which one's better to build? It all depends on the horsepower goal. So,
yes.
If you're going to be changing the rods, the pistons, the crank anyways, doing a 426, at the end of the day, the block is what matters, nothing else, right? Mm-hmm. Out of a Ego 5.7, if you have 1,000 horsepower goal, the block is fine. Stroke it out to a 392, get proper rod piston, that forged crank, and send it. It'll be more than capable. Mm-hmm. It's all about capabilities. We like to overbuild a little bit, but you don't always have to go that much over. So really set that long-term goal. Is a 5.7 capable of 1,000 wheel horsepower? Absolutely. Yeah. There's just differences of characteristics when it comes down to it. So better. It just depends on that end all horsepower goal. So, yeah.
Any longevity issues on the fuel pump when running E85 on a 6.4?
It definitely can. E85 is very corrosive. It's very so it's one of those maintenance is what we preach when it comes to all this. So just be conscious of it. E85 will wear pumps faster, even ones designed for E85. For systems, we send, after a couple of years, we send our pumps in for maintenance to make sure they're flowing. It's just the nature of the beast. Alcohol is tough on things. So, on a factory fuel pump, they still have the socked filter on it. It can build up with garbage and things like that. The pump is going to be trying harder, so it can create extra heat. So
if you have a booster pump.
Yeah, booster pump if you're using that. So I have seen factory 392 pumps fail, from long time use of E85, so it will prematurely cause it to fail. That's why we talk about anytime, booster pumps are, talked about, or E85 transitions, it is kind of a Band-Aid, right? Be ready for the proper upgrade. And like I said, even on full E85 for return style fuel systems, it still will wear things out and might lead to that. So it's all about the maintenance, like injector cleanings and everything like that. So just be ready for it.
How about driving? Should I take my car all the way down to the empty gas light and still beat on it?
You shouldn't do that with anything. No. You shouldn't do that with pump gas or E85. No. So part of...
You just took my chair. Sorry, Tim.
Yep, he did. Captain Helmet. What happens when you have less fuel in the tank, it also heats up the pumps. So, the fuel itself actually does cool the fuel systems down as they use it. So any guy that really goes to, any type of high horsepower fuel system, we tell them not to run below a quarter tank, half tank for abuse, because there is a benefit to having extra fuel in there. He's back again.
He's back.
So no, don't abuse it. Don't run it down too low. It's just not good for anything. So, what else?
Awesome sauce. Should you E85 on a stock Scat Pack or 5.7?
I was reading.
Should you E85 on a stock Scat Pack or 5.7?
Could you run E85 on a stock 5.7 or Scat Pack? They are very different. Very different beast. Part of the benefit to E85 is you can get more aggressive with the tuning. So it simulates that of running, we call it poor man race gas, right? Yeah. So 5.7s, hear me out. Not worth it.
No.
Sorry. I love E85. I throw it in everything. But even a cammed 5.7,
And you're referring to NA, correct?
NA.
Yes.
You said stock.
Yes,
So
I
that's
did.
what I'm saying. You said stock. So
I did.
Gains on it, man. You're lucky if you get 5 horsepower from E85.
Oh no.
You know, can you rev it out higher? Sure, but they don't make power in a stock form setup. Will it reduce or prevent detonation? Yeah, but you're not really going to see the type of gains you would from a boosted or even a 392 setup. Now, why do 392s benefit from it more? Compression. They are higher compression. So naturally, every degree of timing you can keep, it makes a little bit more horsepower. So, you know, in an 8.5 1 compression motor, like a pre-Eagle 5.7.
Yeah, great cars.
NA with, you know.
8.5?
What's that?
8.5?
No, I'm just saying,
Oh,
I was
okay.
saying like 8.5, but I'm
Oh.
saying pre-Eagles are under 10 to 1 compression,
Yep.
right? So you throw E85 at it, it probably won't even gain a horsepower on the dyno, okay? So you go to a 10 to 1 compression motor, you can get 10 to 15, maybe 20 out of it, depending on how happy the car is. And it's all based on the fact that we can keep or add timing, and then the compression is the compounding factor to it. So 5.7s, I'm sorry, you got boost, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. But you know, E85 on a 5.7, I don't see a value to it.
Oh no.
What did
They can't read that. It's mirrored, bro.
Oh, jeez, you just put it. He just said it's mirrored, so he can't see
Oh, it's
it.
mirrored. Oh,
Here,
that's trash.
I'll read it.
Oh, could you versus should you
Buy Satera merch.
That definitely looks like bug.
It does.
My employees don't have good handwriting.
No.
Definitely looks like bug.
That's why we do computerized quotes.
You know what?
And that's why he wears a helmet.
You don't get it anymore.
Yeah.
You don't get
Okay.
it anymore.
All right,
Yeah,
go
we
put
can
your,
set.
who took your helmet off? Put that back on.
We need that for insurance.
Anyways, 5.7s,
Merch.
don't run corn unless you're boosted, guys. I'm sorry to say it.
Yeah.
Or you raise your compression. 392s, go for it, man. Absolutely. Plus, it keeps the ringlings happy when that, and it keeps that ring from pinching. So, yeah, good one.
Not a could you shoot you, but best mods for a stock Hellcat. I think the Satera Tuning level 1 or 1.5.
Depends on the power goals.
Yep.
I mean, you know what I mean? Best mods, you can get 40 to 60 out of a Hellcat from a tune only. You know, level 1, 120, 160 on pump gas. You throw corn on that package, another 40 to 60. It all depends on power. What do? I throw turbos on them. I mean, my TRX is turbos. My last year, my
Turbo the
first
world,
TRX
baby.
had it. My Red Eye had it. My current Hellcat is a 1.5 on it, but nobody bought it, so I'm putting it to a level 1 and trading it into a dealer. So look for it somewhere soon.
I want those wheels.
Yeah, too bad. Nice try. But it all depends on your power goals. We have solutions all the way from tune only all the way up to 1,500 horsepower plus. So it really, really just depends on that.
Ooh,
Hold
could
on.
you, should you?
Hold on, yeah, I saw here. Currently
Okay.
Ford is a 6.1 YSI.
What boost system?
Michael Montgomery says he currently has a 6.1 with the YSI at 18 PSI, turbo 400, kind of a race car. He's wondering, and I've had talks with them about switching over to a V13. It's the latest and greatest kind of street blower from Vortec, a Whipple 3.0, or a complicated Hellcat.
That would be an 8.
Like we talked about, I talked to him a little bit on the side. I'm a big fan of that V13. My neighbor also threw one on his Coyote as well, and between me and him testing, we've learned a lot about the blower. This is going to be my assessment for what I've seen. We made over 1,300 wheel horsepower out of that out of the V13 94 on just a drop-in rod piston 392.
Bill's car, the yellow one.
Yeah, Bill's car, the yellow one. It's roughly at 24 psi is about what I would say it was at when it made 1,300 wheel. A Whipple 3.0, not really going to make that type of power. Plus, it's a lot bigger. So one of the benefits of a centrifugal blower is they don't use as much parasitic drain, right? So they spin easier. So I'm a big fan of, if you're not going to go turbo the way, turbo the world, right? But if not, I'm a big fan of the centrifugal. I think it's a good transition into the blower world. Another benefit of it, it's not all of it all at once. So for track use, it's very linear on delivery. We don't have to try and pull as much power out of it. You're actually trying to put the power into it because the boost is a little bit lower. I don't know what they're doing out there. Sorry about that.
That is a shop or something.
Yeah, what is going on? People working? It's crazy. So I'm a fan of centrifugal because of the delivery of it. Plus, options in regards to cooling, air to air. If you're a street car, it's nice. If you want to go with the built intake manifold coming soon with a built-in air to water intercooler, you have that option as well. So a little more flexibility with it. With our V13, we did a 10 rib conversion utilizing the Hellcat front drive. So in that situation, if you were to try to pull off what we did, you will have to do the Hellcat conversion. But again, if you do a Hellcat conversion, even with a Hellcat blower, you're not going to be able to make as much power with a Hellcat blower. The Whipple 3.0, I really like tapped out is about 1200 wheel where it's happy. I will say that we, as you saw with the Trackhawk we just made, 1250 wheel at 6400 RPM out of a 426 with the stock 375 upper and 10% lower on a Whipple 3.8 with a Trackhawk. So those new 3.8s make some power. If they can live, it's a very impressive option for a supercharger. And because how big it is, the boost is actually a little bit more linear than that of like the 3 liter. So again, going back to the delivery of it. But I do see as you do more pulls with the Whipple 3.8, the horsepower drops real quick. You know, that cold pull I did, the 1250, next pull was 1220, and it was just a small fueling adjustment. It just took a bit to get it back to a happy temperature, and that was just a dyno pull. So imagine at a track or anything like that.
So that Vortec being off to the side is not going to suffer from those issues as much.
Yeah, huge. It's much easier to do that. So, my vote is a centrifugal. I know on your setup it may be hard because I think they only have 6/8 rib options. It depends on your end-all goal, Michael. I don't know what your big power goal is. I do know that out of the ones you listed, the V13 is more capable of horsepower than the Whipple 3.0. But application-wise, depending on what you end up doing, or you just throw turbos on it.
That would fix it really quickly.
Fix it. More flexibility.
Yeah, it sounds cool.
Yeah, it sounds cool. You got a turbo 400, you got a trans brake, it'll spool quick.
It's meant for turbos.
Don't worry about the lag.
Yep.
So,
give up those belt-driven suckers and just go straight to turbos.
Yeah, biased. Sorry.
Yeah.
Call me what it is. But,
Turbo the world, baby.
Yeah.
Oh, look at CJ. Look at Captain Helmet right on that.
There we go.
Why can't we run E85 or E50 blend on a stock motor 392 Stage 2 Whipple cars?
Okay, why can't you run E60 blend on stock motor 392 Stage 2 Whipple cars? Fuel system is what's going to hold you back. So it's one of those that as long as you have the proper fuel system there, I can't. But that's your limitation. There's no reason you can't. You just need proper fueling behind it to run E85. So as long as you have the fuel system in place, you absolutely can run E85. Again, when you said it, you said E50 blend?
Yeah, E50 blend.
So again, we talked about it a week or so ago. Something to consider, unless you get barreled E85 or E98 and you're blending it yourself, if you're going to a pump and relying on that, you don't know what is not E85. Gas companies have openly stated they blend 50 octane gas with E85 blends. So if you get an E50 blend from a pump, it could be 50% octane mixed with E85. Well, guess what? You're going to be below 87 octane.
That Soviet
it doesn't make it any more beneficial than running 93, for example. So, but if you're doing it out of a can where you have 93 octane and you mix 50% E98 and get your own 50% blend, then you can.
A lot of work.
And it would be better than 93. A lot of work, and it's kind of really expensive to do that.
Right, at that point, just get the...
Yeah, fuel system is going to be your limitation. There's nothing that will stop you other than that. So,
I'll be running this myself on a Doucheworks 400 pump setting.
Again, we don't run those. And it depends.
Baby.
Stan, I know what you're making power-wise. I don't think that's enough. Again, it's what you're blending. It will be the, what you have to worry about. So, again, if you know it's 93 and you're mixing it with good E98, we can get away with it with what you have. But going over that 50, you're going to run out of fuel pump, my friend. So, but yeah, we can definitely do that. Definitely do that. So.
I saw it earlier. Should you put a 3.0 Whipple on a stock 6.4 BGE Jeep and then temporarily an upgrade later and hopefully...
It says non-BGE, so my guess is maybe a non-BGE Jeep that it's older. 4 over. Yes, 4 over Holly, absolutely. But in regards to throwing boost at a stock 392... throwing boost at a stock 392. Yeah, you can do it, absolutely. And I know the internet says, yeah, you can run 6 to 8 pounds of boost, no problem, so on and so forth. It's more the education of understanding. You're right, you can run that. Could you? Yes. Should you? If you understand what you're doing and why. Now, being a non-BGE, I think it's older, probably has a little higher mileage on it, so the motor probably is loose. You probably can get away with it a little bit longer. Keep that boost under that 8 PSI number and a proper tune and maintenance, you get some good life. it's really on the 392s. It is the luck of the draw. You can have the best tuner out there, but they can't tune around a pinched ring. They literally can't. It's just a mechanical symptom that happens, right? You can put everything in place with, you know, a conservative tune and lowering the thermostat to try and control temperatures and everything along those lines. I've even seen some pop on E85. It's just luck of the draw. So
that one Durango, it came in for a health check before a retune, driving completely fine. There was nothing really wrong with it, and compression was great. But one of the spark plugs was smashed. You set a bore scope down in there. Oh, missing part of a piston. Had no idea.
No idea. He was driving it. He just came to us because it had the can tune on it for several thousand miles, and he had no idea it was popped. Right. So
and he was one of the lucky ones where it pops and it just goes right out and it doesn't damage anything.
Right.
The other side is bouncy, 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 and cylinder head all gun smoke.
Yeah, so. You're right, Scott. They don't realize it's 10-9 to 1 compression, but they also...
Captain Helmet doesn't charge his phone.
Yeah. They also some don't even know what that means or kind of what that effect is when it comes to being boosted as well. So again, that's where good shops like us, you know, like Scott, like Tim Barth I saw in here, it's cool you guys to check in and everything. But we educate our customers. So I will throw a blower on it, no problem. I will educate you and let you know what the risks are and what you have to watch out for, right? That's what it comes down to. So, man, these questions are flying today.
We had 40 viewers earlier. That's like a record. To run...
Yep, that too. So you're right. A ring being pinched or, you know, a ringling pop doesn't mean you're going to have low compression. That ring still can hold the compression perfectly fine. So
that cylinder made like 190.
It made 190. The compression check, if we didn't, you know, assess the plug, one of the plugs looked a little weird. It wasn't even fully smashed. No. It just had a little, something like just didn't seem right. And sure enough, it had perfect compression across the board. It just had a big chunk of piston missing. So, yeah, it's experience too. This comes with experience, guys. And this is why we charge what we do. The flies don't get it.
Oh, dude. Do we do remote tuning or have tunes for a Hellcat? Absolutely.
Yes.
Yes.
Every day we remote tune.
And 6.1s and 6.4s.
We
and
tune them all
5.7s.
unless they're super high mileage or modified and tuned by 10 other tuners. I'm not doing that anymore unless you want to pay me like 30 grand. So
we also don't touch 5.9s or 4.7s.
I just don't go back. I stopped at 2005. So.
Sorry.
Yeah. But yeah, that's just one of those. So we do remote tuning. You can message our page. We'll get you set up with a quote. So.
Oh my God, no. Yeah, no 5.9s. No.
No, just 10 tuners.
Oh,
all right, let's go.
Yeah.
Man, this is going long. We got to go. All right, we'll do one or two more questions.
Do you guys allow any turbo LS stuff in the dyno, or is that a no-no?
If you actually watch one of our lives from a few weeks ago, there's a turbo fifth-gen Camaro here, so I do it sparingly. I have a soft spot in my heart for GM stuff. Over the winter, I'm more able to dive into those. It's just I'm so busy with my supporters from the Dodge community. I keep it open for them. If you can't find anybody come winter and I'm slowing down a little bit, I will assist where possible. I send my LS guys over to Koza. You know, and if he can't take you on, he's in Elk Grove, local to us. If he can't handle it, then hang on, and I might be able to get to it. So I take him sparingly, got a soft spot for him. If anybody finds my 5th-gen Camaro for sale out there, let me know. VIN ends in 10830, 10830. I know you're out there. Anyways, so one more question.
Where are we located? Hampshire, Illinois. About 45 minutes northwest. I wanted an easy one to end it.
Well, no.
Okay. Should you add zinc to oil? Can it harm sensors? Any downsides?
Zinc to oil?
Yes.
So naturally, you want to run high zinc on kind of a newer engine. You know, we kind of run high zinc. It helps to, you know, make sure everything's seat and sealed properly. And beyond that, a little bit doesn't hurt anything, you know, as long as it's a proper mixture for how you are going to drive the vehicle. They utilize zinc for kind of a coating on things, a kind of a thermal barrier, so it's not real negative as long as, you know, it doesn't just like all zinc. But
it's great for like them old clapped out motors.
Yeah, clapped out.
250,000 mile, 383.
Yeah. Generally, you'll see high zinc type of oil on new engines as they break in to give that extra thermal barrier and stuff like that. And there's a little bit of zinc in everything, so.
Sunscreen has zinc.
Sunscreen has ink.
Zinc.
I think there was one more I saw.
4 over Holly.
4 over Holly, yeah. Oh, that was it. Yeah, yes. Somebody asked me about that too. Clutched over standard pulley. So this will be the one we wrap up today. Thank you everybody again for checking in and leave more questions. We'll utilize them for next one. But clutched versus standard pulley. The way I explain it is we have two bikes. We have a BMX bike, and then we have an 18-speed mountain bike. Now, if you don't understand the difference there, BMX bikes are chain and sprocket, and they're stuck. So you pedal forward, it goes forward. You pedal back, it goes back. It's just direct linked. That's a solid hub pulley on a supercharger. You go to a clutch pulley, it's like an 18-speed bike. You can pedal and stop your feet, and the bike will continue to accelerate and gradually slow down. They have basically a clutch setup built into the sprockets. Okay, so why do we like clutch? Why do we make clutch pulleys? And where is the benefit to them? So I will use the example. You have the two bikes and you're going uphill. That's acceleration. Okay, so that's you going wide open throttle with your Hellcat, your 392 with the Whipple, Vortec, ProCharger, whatever it is. You're going uphill. Okay, acceleration, everything's locked and you're pedaling. You get to the peak of the hill and then you start going down the hill. Okay. On the BMX bike, if you try to leave your feet on the pedals and the acceleration gets faster than what you can pedal, man, you are going to lose your shins. I don't know.
You're blowing your knees out.
Anybody that's running a BMX bike will know you are going to eat your feet. It's just going to keep accelerating. That is the rotors of your supercharger attempting to continue to accelerate based on physics. It's called inertia. You get those suckers spinning at 20,000 RPM, and then going downhill is letting off the gas, or a shift, a gear change, right? 7,000 RPM to 5,800 RPM.
Burnout.
Within, what, 0.3 seconds is what we can command, even shorter, right? So you're going 7,000 to 58. Those rotors don't like stopping like that. They don't like slowing down.
They're heavy.
They're heavy. Very heavy.
They're very.
Think about a 3.8-liter Whipple, right? Trying to do that.
Yeah.
So it's going to continue to accelerate. This is where the clutch comes in. The clutch will then free spin, allowing the rotors to gradually slow down to the speed to equal the engine again. So it reduces jerking feeling. It reduces wear and tear. And really the benefits are it's not as hard on everything. I mean, this attaches to your crank, everybody. Superchargers attached to your crank. So a solid hub pulley, every time it jars, right, it's going to shock every pulley that it's attached to. So, and that's why, like on Coyotes, for any Ford fans in here, oil pump gears are so important when you put a blower on it, because you're adding tension to it, so it pulls and pulls onto the oil pump. So they have to do billet oil pump gears when they put a blower on. Now, the oil pumps are very stout in Hellcats because it was, factory boosted, but it's still not good for everything, guys. So that's why you have to pin your crank when you have a solid hub pulley, because your belt slips every single time the RPM drops. It doesn't matter if it's a 50% pull, 25% throw, and it shifts. Your belt slips in every occasion. And if it doesn't, that means it's literally reversing the rotation of the rotors and or engine, which doesn't happen. So that's where the clutch comes in. It allows it in those episodes to allow the inertia and the momentum of those rotors to continue to accelerate and then gradually meet the speed again of that of the engine. So it also reduces belt slip entirely. So, I know people out there was a conversation about it earlier in one of the groups about, I have a aggressive Whipple combination, my belt doesn't slip. Where'd you get your data? I did a dyno pull to 6,000 RPM. Okay, well, that's temperature controlled. There's no load on it or anything like that. Now go to the racetrack and tell me your 275 up or 10% lower is not slipping, even on the shifts. Guess what it is? Yeah, it just snaps belts all the time.
What? That's normal.
That's belt slip. Now, you know what I mean? So, you might not necessarily see it right away in regards to, on a data log, it might look like everything's okay, but the truth is that a solid hub application, the belt slips every time the engine RPM drops. It's just the way that it goes. Might be for a split second, but it does happen.
You may not hear it, but
right.
I mean, I hear it on mine. It's loud every time I shift.
Right. And yes, Jeff is right. The Dodge, OEM Dodge Hellcat pulleys are clutched. Mm-hmm. They are decoupling style pulley from the factory. And German cars, Mercedes, BMW, they've used clutch pulleys for a very long time.
Mm-hmm. Alternators are clutch.
Alternators, AC compressors. Yep. There's reasons for all of this, right?
It's heavy. It's load.
Heavy. It's a lot of load. It's rotation, inertia, right? So any way you can kind of reduce that improves the benefit, which is why we spend hundreds of thousands of dollars in engineering, machines, product to offer clutch pulleys, not only for the Hellcat, but also for the Whipple setup, right? Mm-hmm. So, that's the benefit. So hopefully that breaks it down in a simple matter for you guys.
And then I know earlier in the stream, I don't know if everyone was here, but earlier I was doing the shop tour, and I showed there's a red wide body, octane red charger here that's going from a solid pulley to our clutch pulley, and you can see all the belt dust, all the black dust That's all from the belt. That's all from belt slip, just wearing it away.
Yeah.
So get rid of that.
Yep.
Prolong life of your belts.
Yeah. Somebody has a question about sometimes we have refurbished clutch, pulleys available on our website if we have any in stock. We still offer the same warranty because we basically rebuild them from scratch. It just means that essentially some of the parts were used, and it's mainly the hard parts, but the clutch and the bearings and everything internal do get replaced. So we do offer the 2-year warranty on it still. So you want Dyno Pulls Next Live? So greatly, transition into that. So we're done with the questions for now. Anybody checking in after we post this, please leave more questions. But Captain Helmet and myself are taking to TikTok Live. This is new for us. I told I should do it. So what I will be doing on TikTok Live is occasionally sharing a could you, should you that we get. It'll just be a short live just for that. And we also will be doing dyno sessions where I am going to have the live going while I tune a vehicle. I'm going to discuss what I'm doing, what I'm looking for, show the dyno pulls, show what can happen. I'll tell you, shops like us, we show the beautiful pull every single time. Guys, things go wrong. Things happen. Not that things blow up, but every dyno pull is not the best, okay?
No.
So
You might catch Jeremy dropping an F-bomb once or twice.
No, you won't.
You will not
No,
catch me.
I'm lying.
no.
You will not catch
He's
me.
lying.
Nice try.
He's lying.
You might get a French toast out of me.
Call him
You're not
Captain
getting
Liar.
anything.
I was
You're
trying
not
to get
gonna-
viewers.
Yes, you can pin a stock lower,
Yeah.
but if you're going to pin something, throw an ATI on it. But all right, guys. So check out our TikTok. Like, subscribe to it. You're going to see a lot of Captain Helmet, myself on there. So just another way we can bring this information to you guys. Thank you. This was, we can tell by the viewers, this is one of our most popular lives, which is pretty cool.
And
so
probably
thank
longest.
you to our customers, friends, family, other shops for chiming in. Let's keep going, guys. We'll see you next week.